This is something I often forget to do. I have to rewind myself half the time and get started back again. So, assumables, where are you guys at with this? How are you guys utilizing it in your current business? What questions you guys have? I'll let you guys kind of start, and then I'm going to go over a few things that I have.
Well, I'm gonna I did not join the Assumable that Pitt offered last week for the month for free, but I'm gonna do that. I didn't get that offer accepted. I was super bummed. They got another offer that was of a regular conventional 21-day close, 10,000 above me. So, but it really has like for some reason this when this whole challenge started, this like piqued my interest
Yep.
and the HUD. And since I've been doing this now, like I was at a softball game last night for my granddaughter, and I've been posting, and she's like, Kim, we're looking to always invest if you find anything on Assumable. So I need to tap in more and do, but I'm gonna sign up for the $79. Well, I'll do Pitt's month for free, but I just want to learn more. The only thing that and I think because you guys have your guys that can help us walk through. When I was talking to one of my lenders, she said that it's very like she hasn't seen too many success stories on assumables. So that kind of was like, but I think because you guys have all the backing, hit and you're the people I wrote it down last week that you told me to call if we got it, that hopefully we can make it. If I do get some assumables, I can get them closed.
Gotcha. So, yeah, first and foremost, in case you guys do not know, pittmiller.com for our team, for our 12-week challenge. Pitt is offering this out. He worked with the owner of Assumulus, which is my buddy Mike Larino, and they have a free, and it's actually not free, just so you guys know, it is actually Success Lending pays for the first month to show you guys what it has to offer. And then the second piece of that is Assumption Solutions. That's Craig O'Boyle. And what I would do for you, Kim, is I would say the person that you talk to, that lender, is put that lender in touch with Pitt. Let Pitt have a discussion with that lender. Craig O'Boyle and his team have been doing assumptions for about a year and a half now, and they are up to 50 transactions a month.
Wow. Wow.
So utilize that experience that they have as a part of your team. So leverage that piece. Our office has done a couple. Tammy Brock has done an FHA. We've got some Arizona people. They're doing a lot of veteran assumables. I've got two in escrow right now, two FHAs for two different buyers. And I know Mike really well. I've got at least 10 people looking at assumables right now, and I'm utilizing that as an opportunity, at least to have a discussion. And I get a lot of people that are like, hey, I really want to do this. And I go, okay, here's what it looks like. Here's, the process, which the process itself is simple, but now you've got to educate your buyer. You've got to educate a listing agent who's then got to educate a seller. But it gives us as agents the opportunity to chat with the buyers and express to them what it is. But it helps us to get a leg up on discussion with anybody else. And you'll find is probably half of those people that are looking at assumption, I want this low rate, are still going to buy. And now you gave them a piece of education nobody else did. It puts you at the top of the list. And then if they transition to a regular, purchase, then you're going to be in that position to be that, helper for them. So it will still increase your business even if you're not actually getting the assumption properties. So something to think about first and foremost.
Gary, with the ones that you're doing right now, and then the ones that you have in the pipeline, was that all? Because I've seen some of your posts. Was that past clients or was that all from just marketing it on social media?
So one of them is a referral from Mike. Actually, he's in Virginia. And so he said, hey, I got this guy that came to Assumless, didn't have an agent. I recommended you. I showed him up 15 homes. They're buying a $700,000 house in Rockland with a 3.5% interest rate, saving them literally $1,000 a month. The second one was through my network as a whole, so kind of a referral. It wasn't an assumption. She was looking to buy a duplex, and I said, "Hey, what if we could find you a duplex that wasn't assumable?" I showed her 7 properties that were assumable, one that was not. She made an offer on one that was assumable. It's a 3% interest rate. It's in Vallejo. It's a duplex. She's going to live in one side. She's going to rent the other side out. Her payment is going to be $1,200 for her portion of that duplex in Vallejo.
Wow.
What the heck?
Wow.
So those are some of the things you guys have to look at. But here's the piece I want to pitch to you guys and help you guys understand that the biggest piece for this lady happened to be this. So this property is actually only worth about 450. The original owner bought it 4 years ago. She bought it for 515. It's probably only worth 450 right now because she bought it obviously at the top of the market. But we ran the numbers for my client, and I said, listen, if you were to buy this house at 450 with today's rate, 6.5, whatever it's going to be, you're going to put down $18,000 to $20,000, and your payment's going to be $3,800. You're going to rent one side out for $1,700. That's going to put your portion at $2,100, which is not bad. She's paying $1,900 for rent right now. Now you're going to pay $2,100, and you're going to be the owner of the property, and the other piece is going to be paying a portion of your mortgage. And she qualifies, so all those pieces were great. When we got to the details of she's paying $489, so that's $40,000 higher than what the value is, but she's getting a 3% interest rate. She's putting about $35,000 down. She's putting a little bit more down because she has to do the gap funding on it, which she had the money, which was perfectly fine. But now we lower her payment by $800, $900, and we literally lowered her monthly payment by 40% of her monthly outgo, so that now she's buying this property, even if she is upside down, $40,000 at 3% interest rate, she's paying this much in principal, where if she was buying at 6.75, she's paying this much in principal. So over the next 5 years, her principal pay down is going to be considerably more because of the low interest rate, that in 5 years, they're both going to have roughly the same principal if she bought it at that higher number. So that part's great. The topper, the key is actually that she doesn't now have a 30-year loan. She has a 26-year loan. So she's now in 5 years, she's going to be at 21 years left on her loan. And she's in her probably late 50s, wants to retire pretty soon. And now she's going to be able to retire with a lower monthly payment. She's going to be able to have no issues. And I told her is before you retire, because she's about 3 years out, why don't we let you live in this one for a couple of years, build up some equity position, then put a renter into this one, and then let's buy you something else where you have income from this property that's helping to offset your payment for whatever it is you buy next. And our goal is to buy another duplex. And if we can find one, on another assumable duplex. So you're building long-term wealth for people. And her savings is $211,000 of interest over their life of her loan. So who
That's
can start at
crazy. Yeah,
late
that's
50s
awesome.
and build that kind of generational wealth for her family? And she just has one daughter. But I'm like, for your future, you're going to retire from the state she works for. You're going to have a little bit of a pension. You've got some savings, whatever. But now you've got income producing properties that you just moved into for, a period of time. So those are some of the massive, massive savings that you guys need to help your people understand. So what questions do you guys have about that little scenario that I shared with you?
Can I point out that I think, Gary, what you've done real well is, so this is the play. I think each day for a while there, he was going on assume lists, identifying a sexy assumable property, and then just putting it out there in the universe, And then he was posting something, educating a buyer on why assumable is a great deal, i.e., sometimes lenders do that, Kim. You've seen us do that total cost analysis where, over 30 years on a $500,000 loan, you pay $5 million in interest. And then if we do this, man, that total cost analysis is what he's talking about. Because if somebody geeks out, most people don't understand it, but if they get into that, 4 years off the loan, probably $50,000 of interest, less charges. So it's just education. So I think the way you use this is you go in there, identify a property, and then you kind of boost it organically everywhere you are. And it's just a marketing piece. That's all it is a marketing piece. And when somebody says something about it, like, and I'm not going to, I'll pick on your lender for a second. Yeah. Of course, lenders don't find this good. There's no money for us to make in this deal. I can tell you that a mile away. Of course, we don't like it. But it's interesting because when I started in the mortgage business, there was FHA assumables, and then it changed. You used to be able to do those subject twos where, dude, I did a bunch of these. This agent showed me where you didn't have to qualify and you got the people in there, and I made 1%. It was like, and then it changed. But anyway, going back to just educating. So, you know, I think you got to have, you put it out there, then you got to have your basic script. And if somebody says something about it, well, Kim, what do you know about assumables? You know, what makes you say that? How can I help educate you about this? So, you know, I'm going to pick on Brian in our office. He went out and started pitching assumables. And he got people in his just generic sphere talking about it. So I think it's just a marketing tool and you talk about it. I don't know how many you're actually going to do. That's just my opinion.
Well, and I think it's just such a great, like, it's such a great topic. And I mean, honestly, because I'm always about if I can help somebody, especially, you know, people that couldn't afford to buy a house, like those people that I wrote that offer for, like, I'm trying to keep them reeled in. But I mean, it was truly the payment on that assumable that had their interest. But yeah, I think it's a great conversation starter. And because I have you guys now and I've learned some more, like just at the softball game yesterday. Like I've known these parents of them for like 4 years now, and I know they have money. And you know, maybe we don't do an assumable, but I find them a flip. So yeah, I think it's a great marketing just to start talking to people. And if I can find an assumable loan at 2.9 or something, I'm putting my kids in it.
Yeah, I think if you do an open house, I think you just print out a little piece of paper, you know, it says something and set it on a table over there, score a 2-3% loan, ask me how. I mean,
Right.
just something, just something.
Right.
Yeah.
Gary, was there a lot? I'm gonna pull it today or tomorrow. I actually have gotten busy, which is awesome. I put a listing on last week. I have 4 offers I have to do today. So
Wow.
I know 4 offers. I listed this property last year and I couldn't get it sold. Originally we started too high, but he was like, let's pull it, let's come back in spring. So I reached out and yeah, I put it on Thursday and I have 4 offers.
What price
So,
range?
425.
Very affordable.
Lower, yeah, it's
Very
off of
affordable.
Watt. So, but with the assumable, so when I go on that website, is there a lot in Sacramento, or like, do you feel like a lot of people are targeting this now, Gary, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I would say first and foremost, it is the low end of people learning about it. So I'd say of our real estate agents, less than 5% really know about assumables. So the great thing is we can utilize this as, hey, I'm more educated than a big swath of the agents out there. We know that there's a lot of agents that, you know, really just don't have a grasp on things. It makes you look more educated. It gives you an opportunity to have those discussions. There is a fair amount, and actually, if you guys, I'll share my screen. I'll hop onto Assumless and I'll show you guys what it looks like for you guys. So let's go to.
And then when you see the assumable loan, so you see it. So then like at what point, like, do you reach out to the owner? Because you don't know for sure they want to sell, right?
So these are all properties that are currently listed for sale.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yep. So I'm going to show you guys. Now, there is another factor of this that is off-market properties that we haven't really even talked about yet. And it's an opportunity for you guys to be able to get some more listings. And we'll dive into that if we have a little bit of time today. But I want to make sure we respect everybody's time and keep this at the 30 to 45 minutes that we usually do. So if I go to property search, you guys can see my screen, right? Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So there's
a good one in Rancho Cordova.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So what I do,
and they just lowered the price too.
Oh wow, nice. So what I do is I go by county. So I'll go Sacramento County, right? So this will pull up and you'll see that there's 214 assumable properties in Sacramento County. Now, that's everything. It's active and everything else. So our pending also. So I take off the pendings and I only want the actives. Now we're down to 131. Okay.
Oh, that's still great. Okay.
Still 131. So then you got to look at, is my person a veteran? So if I pull out the veteran loans, now I'm only looking at FHA and USDA. There's still 72 that are there. So that shows you that there's still 72 properties. And here they are, what the map looks like. So you go Elk Grove, Galt, you got up in here, Rio Linda, you got all the way over here into Folsom. But here's the properties. So This is in Elk Grove. It's 263,000 down. Here's the interest rate. Here's one in North Highlands, 146,000 down, 4.37 interest rate. So I
So
do
that
this-
was 262 down on that one in Elk Grove and it's
Correct.
listed at 600. Okay.
Yep. So I'm going to show you guys this. So I don't go by sorting newest. I want the assumable lowest rate. That's just the way I want to search through things. It's just what helps me. So now I got a 2.43, a 2.49. This is Citrus Heights. But keep in mind, I look at these numbers here, 208. That's a lot of money down for a lot of people. And they're like, well, I don't have that kind of money down. I get it. I understand that. So here's one that's a condo. It's only 46K down with a 2.59. Here's 137 down, 2.65. Here's a $37,000 down, 2.65. So 1 bedroom, 1 bath condo. But I look at these to try and gauge what my clients are looking for. But I'm also doing this from an education standpoint. I look at this every single day because I always am thinking through how can I help my clients buy this house. I'm going to choose this one here in North Highlands, right? So this is 6252 Morazan. I'm going to pull this up. And so it's an FHA loan. It's 2.73. It's got 26 years and 3 months left on loan. It's only a 2-1. That's probably a little high for a 2-1 in North Highlands, right? Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. The payment's $1,700. Now, that does not include insurance because insurance fluctuates. So I always tell people add $100. So we're at $1,800. So if I tell someone, they say, well, I can only afford $1,800. I just opened up the opportunity for somebody that can afford $1,800 to be able to buy this house, right? Because there's not a lot of people that say I can get it for 10, for that much down. So I don't have 77,000 down. So we can get a secondary loan and get you to a 10% down, 36,000. That means the second loan's 36,000. So then you got to go talk to Pitt. Pitt, can we do a second loan that's 36 grand? He may or may not be able to do that. I don't know if there's a minimum threshold, but now the blended rate's 3.48 and the payment's still 2,200. Do you guys all see all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then here's the other thing is it shows you right here, you're going to save $130,000 over the life of this loan. And it's a $361 a month savings from if they tried to buy this property in today's market with today's rate, 6.65. So I'm doing this for myself because I want to be educated. And I look at that and go, okay, so maybe a 2-1 in North Highlands isn't the easiest one. So let's go with something a little bit that has a higher number. So this
when they're overpriced like that, Gary, even though they're assumable, we can still, it's just like a regular sale. It's just on the market. It's just an assumable loan. They've done the homework and know that it's assumable. So we could go in lower.
Yeah. So keep in mind, you can go in lower, but here's really the way I present this to my clients. And hopefully you guys can utilize this. I'm going to show this one here on Carlson because it's a little bit more of a house that more people would like to buy. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. It's got an FHA at 2.65, got 26 and a half years left. And keep this in mind. So now I'm going to go, now there's a 55,000. So maybe that is what, Pick might be able to do a $55,000 loan. But here's the way I describe this to my people is this house might only be worth 500. Let's just use round numbers. So say this house is only worth $500,000, right? If I was to try and buy this house today on the market, that seller and that listing agent are like, well, we're not dropping to 500 grand. But that's what the value is for that property in the marketplace. But here's the thing, my client's willing to pay your full 549. We're going to give you way above and beyond what the value is because we're buying this right here. We're buying that 2.65 rate. And like I told you, my lady that's in Vallejo, we're paying $40,000 higher because that 3% rate, this one's 2.65, that payment is still considerably less. So I'm going to do this for you guys. I'm going to show you mortgage calculator. So we're going to use this house at 500,000. We're going to go 3.5% down, standard FHA, 3.5. Rates are 6.5, we'll say. Taxes are going to be 5,500. PMI is 0.5, insurance, we'll go, it's an FHA loan, calculate. The payment's $3,800. That's a $3,800 payment for this house at $500,000. But we're gonna pay $550 and our payment's $3,100. So you're not worried about what the value or the listing price is. You're gonna pitch them, or you're gonna try to direct them to the monthly payment.
Got it.
What matters more to people? Not what the house price is. The more important thing is, what is my monthly payment? What do I have to spend every month? Can I afford $3,100 or can I afford $3,800? You guys tell me, how many buyers you go that I'll buy this same house for 500 grand with today's rates? So say the house down the street is not an assumable, but they're listed at the right price at 500 grand. Well, it's a 4.2, it's 1,800 square feet. I'm going to get a 6.5 rate. I'm going to have a 30-year loan, and I'm going to get in for a little less down, but my payment's $3,800. Or you tell your clients, hey, let's go down and look at this one down the street. And they go, well, that's $550. I go, you're right, it is $550. But the $500,000 house has got a $3,800 mortgage. And this one's got a $3,200 mortgage. Is it the $550 that matters, or is it the monthly payment? And that's really what in Assumable, when you're discussing this with clients, that's what you've got to get to. I don't care what the house price is. I really don't. I care about what the monthly payment is. I'm a buyer. My goal is to get to the lowest payment I can get for my family and buy the most amount of house.
Right.
Right? So does that sink in with you guys? That help you guys kind of gather that information?
Yeah.
What questions do you guys have? Because I know that's a lot of information. Keep in mind, I was a lender for 3 years. Numbers come to me very easily. And so when
Gary, I
I'm
have a
talking,
question. I'm
yes,
sorry.
Barbara, go ahead.
I have a question for you.
Yep.
This is where I'm confused. Okay, so my house, hypothetically, I want to put it on the market, sell it for $750.
Yep.
My interest rate is 3.25. Okay. I owe a balance of $350 on the house.
Yep.
I want $750. So if somebody came along and they wanted to assume my 3.25 at, like I said, I don't care nothing about the price. What happens to that three? I mean, do they have to come in and I know they can assume, are they assuming the $360 that I owe and they
Right.
need to pay cash for the remaining balance that I want
So they
to
can
make
pay
up,
cash if they
to
have
make
it.
it $750?
Yeah, so maybe they're selling a house in the Bay Area and they got the 400 grand, or they've got that money in their mattress, in a savings account, whatever they have it. But they can also call Pitt and get a loan for the secondary financing up to 90%.
And then,
So they can get
but wouldn't
350 grand. I'm sorry, Barbara. So they could call Pitt and get a loan from Pitt for 300, 350, whatever their difference is, to try and bridge the gap. But that 3.25 and his 8.5 might blend at 5. So this is actually a great example. So it blends at 5, and it's like, well, I got a 3 and I got an 8, and they blend at 5. Does that really make sense when they can buy the house down the street?
Right. That's what
at 700, and they're getting a 5.5, and maybe the payments are exactly the same. So they would buy the house that's less expensive. But this is where you're educated to help them see the numbers. So yeah, Barbara, your house is probably not the greatest example because you have such a big gap. You know, now if you were like, hey, I bought my house in 21 and I got a $600,000 loan at 3.25, then you're probably like, that makes a little more sense.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay.
And what's the Pitt? Is that a loan servicing company?
No,
or
this is Pitt
lender
right
or
here, Pitt
something?
Miller.
Pitt Miller. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, Pitt Miller. Gotcha.
Pitt's the lender in our office that does all of our assumption stuff with us.
Oh my God. Pitt
And
He's
he's
been called
always
worse. It's okay.
sponsoring everything. So yes, he is always helping us.
No, you're good. No, you're good, Barbara. No worries.
Thank you.
That's the thing that you guys are trying to help your clients understand is I get it. And like I said, my client, her name is Angela, wonderful lady, but she said to me, Gary, I think that there's one, a property that we looked at that was like 450, and it's similar to this one. And I said, you're right, it is. It's 450. But call your mortgage person and run the numbers. And they came back at 3,800. I said, but you're buying this one at 489.9, 490, and we're getting you a 3% interest rate. So you're putting down about 10, 12,000 more, but your payment is $900 less. Does it really matter that you're spending $40,000 more on the house? Because in the end, for most buyers, it is affordability. It is, what is my total debt to income ratio? And can I get my family into a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house that's 1,800 square feet for a payment that's $500 or $600 less than the 3-2 that's only 1,400 square feet? And that's really what I talk to my clients about more. I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to see if I can find 2 properties that are fairly similar and show you guys. So it's a big one. So this is Citrus Heights, right? This Citrus Heights house is 443. It's a 3. No, that's a 2. Sorry, I want to get a 3-2. I want a 3-2. Okay.
Yeah, what about that 3-2 in South Sac?
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say, because this will actually kind of meet your clients
right
to some degree. So this is Kevinburg, right? $97,000 down. It's a 2.81. It's a 3-2. They are like, hey, I'm going to buy this 460 house. We're going to look at the numbers. I want to get rid of that one. And they go, look at my payment's $2,200. My payment
that
is
was very
$2,200.
similar.
So if this house was going for 425 in the same neighborhood and they were going FHA, but the rate's 6.5, they're buying a house for 35,000 less, but I bet you their payment's $2,700. So I look at that and go, do you want to spend a little bit more? And that's why I tell people is we're not paying the higher value for the house. We're actually paying the higher value to buy the rate. And you guys have heard of 3-2-1 buy downs, right?
Mhm.
So if someone gets a 3-2-1 buy down, they're going to spend like 30 grand roughly. Pitt, tell me if I'm wrong on my numbers here, but it's about 30 grand, $35,000 to get that first year of a 4% rate and get that $2,200 payment. But then year 2, it goes to $2,500 and the rate's 5. And that's for another year. Then they go up again, and it's like now we're at 6%, and the payment's $2,700. Then you go to the full amortization, and yes, for that first year they were doing awesome, and they spent 35 grand. And I'm telling them, let's spend the same 35 grand and get you a 30-year fixed at less than 3%, and your payment's this low for the rest of the term. And check this out, it's not for 30 years, it's for 26. So that's how you guys have got to draw the picture for your clients. And like I said, I know we're not lenders, and like I said, I just happen to have that that background. And so because of that, I look at this, and so I do this on a regular basis. I am in this website, you guys. It's $79. And Pitt, if you go to pittmiller.com, you guys get the first month paid for by Success Lending. After that, $79. It's super expensive. Yep, go ahead.
Can you search Forest Hill?
Yeah, absolutely.
We might know an agent up in Forest Hill. Let's all go to Forest Hill today, you guys. Meet you at the grocery store.
We're having lunch. We're having
Michelle,
burgers.
is that where you live, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually had lunch there yesterday. It's so funny you're saying that.
All right, so let's see what we got in Forest Hill. Roseville, Auburn, Lincoln, Roseville.
Fire.
Forest Hill,
Fire.
right there. Okay.
Right over here.
So check this out. This property on Harrison Street, it's a 3-2, 1,750 square feet. It's got a 2.62 rate. Cute little house. Let's take a quick look at the pictures. Great little house. It's not some beat up, hammered dog crap. It's got nice, it's painted well inside. It's got nice flooring. Hopefully it's got a decent
I was in that house. That's real wood floor too.
Okay, cool. Granite countertops, oak cabinets, cute little house. Bathrooms are updated.
Sauna.
Got a
That's
sauna.
cute.
Nice little
Wow.
bathroom right there. So check this out. This house, good house, right? Great little house. And it's not on some massive 10 acres. Hopefully your fire insurance isn't going to be, 10,000 a year, but, oh, sorry. You're at $499, 81,000 down, 2.62. Look at that payment, $2,400. Yes, you're living in Forest Hill, but maybe you want to be out of the rat race here. So you're in Forest Hill, you close it up to the grocery store, you're going to homeschool your kids, or kids are out of the house, you're an empty nester. You're paying $2,500 plus whatever the insurance is. So maybe you're at $300 a month, you're at $3,600 for the year. You're still under $3,000 for this beautiful home in Forest Hill.
Now, so Michelle could get in there and pump this out organically to everywhere she knows, just talking about Assumable and Forest Hill because she's the expert. And that's the marketing play.
Yep.
That's all it is.
So I'm going to show you guys this real quick just to go through the final piece that Pitt's talking about. So we all have access to KV Core as our CRM. So I go to listings and I go to all MLS listings. You guys can all see my screen still, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
24470, or is it 24770? That's it right there, Harrison Street. So you got the property, it's pulled up. More actions, post to Facebook. Bam.
Oh, I just learned how to do some on KV Core. I don't even know how to use it. Okay, perfect.
So I'd probably pitch this one right here. And what's the rate on it again? Let's take a quick
2 point something. And if you guys need more help with KV Core, Alex Dyer, 10 a.m. every Friday morning. Zoom with alexdyer.com. Every Friday. Zoom with alexdyer.com.
Here's what I would put. 2.62% rate on this beauty. Payments under $3,000 a month. And we know it's actually probably a little less than that, but I'm being playing it safe because I think the fire insurance might be a little high. So we could put under 2,800, we'll say. But you're putting this information out to your ecosphere to say, hey, listen, who knows about this? So someone's going like, hey, I know Michelle and she's up here and I'm looking at, this is a $500,000 house and she's telling me my payment's $2,800. Yet I was just talking to Pitt and Pitt quoted me at 6.5, my lender, and my payment's $3,700. Like, how come my payment's 37 and Michelle's telling me it's only 28? Let me reach out to Michelle and ask questions about this. That's all you're doing. You're just posting out. And here's the thing, no cost. This is not a boosted post. This is not paid for advertising. This is free advertising through our social medias directly from KV Core. No cost for us as EXP because KV Core is paid for. Sorry, Barbara. But then I just hit share and boom, it's posted out on my socials. There it is. And there it is right there on my socials just now.
I hope you have to call Michelle because she has to go show it for you up there. I hope you guys double-end it.
So, what questions? Come on. I know this is good information. I know I've gone over this before, and for me, I know this so well. I'm just, spitting off information. And for you guys that aren't used to this quite yet and haven't done as deep a dive as I am, you need to hear it a couple times. So luckily we're recording this. It'll be put up on our YouTube channel. You guys will be able to watch it. But here's the other thing. You guys can take this video and you can call the listing agent and say, hey, listen, I was actually just on this Zoom call with my team today. We focus and specialize in assumables. And, my team leader is an assumable expert. He's been working on it for the last couple of years. Can I share this video with you and you can trim it down, snip it? And we just happen to use your property as the thing. Can I just make sure you fully understand this? Because I want to market this. I want to bring you a buyer for this property. I want to make sure that we can get you guys in, help you guys understand this. And hey, they go, yeah, I don't quite understand what you guys are talking about. You go, hey, listen, can I get a call with you and Gary and I on the phone? Obviously try and set that up a little bit ahead of time. Don't just call me on the fly, but I know it well enough that I can just spit the information out. You guys could also call Pitt and say, listen, if you were to buy this house today at 6.75, you're trying to sell this $500,000 house with 6.5 rates. I can get you the top dollar that you want. We run the comps and it's really only worth 475. but I can get you the 500 if you guys will let my buyer assume this rate. And so my buyer is willing to pay that extra to buy the rate that you guys have. And that's the way you gotta kind of sell it. So to go back to a question that Kim had earlier is, I'm gonna share my screen again. There is the ability for you guys to do this. So I'm gonna get back here. So assumable search. You could look live on the MLS. You could look at assumable search, which is the standard search for Assumeless. And then you can go here to off market. And this is every property off market that has an assumable rate. And check this out. There's no pictures because they're not on the MLS and it says off market. But here's one in Roseville, 2.43. Let's see if we can find one in Forest Hill. No, Forest Hill. There are 202 properties in Forest Hill that are off market that have assumable loans, FHA or VA. So what if you could go to these sellers and send them a letter that says, hey, listen, I see that you guys have got an amazing rate at 2.43. I'm not sure if you guys are thinking about selling, but I would say the value of your house is 494. I'm using this one here on Greenleaf, right? You guys, your house is probably 495 to 500, but I think I could probably get you 525 to 550 if you'd be willing to sell that property with the rate that's there. So now you're showing them that I can probably get you a higher dollar figure because you're not just selling your property, you're selling your property with the rate. And they're like, well, I got an extra 50 grand in my pocket. And of course, their question is, well, I've got this great rate. I'm super happy with my house. But you know what? We could do something a little bigger. We're going to have another baby in a year or two. We're expanding the family. Or, hey, we're empty nesters. We're actually going to downsize. Well, what if I could help you sell your house and then help you find an assumable for the exact property you're looking for? Now you've got a listing and you've got a buyer that's ready to go to buy another assumable. So this is a great way for you guys to market and be the leading expert and educate people as you're marketing to them.
Awesome.
Is there any downside for somebody taking over that loan? I think we talked a little bit about how that affects VA, but
Yep.
can you kind of talk a little bit about that part?
Yeah, for sure. So we got our filters here so we can find out which ones are VA. So we'll say there's 94 of those are VA out of that 200 or so that were there. So we'll say this guy on Greenleaf, this person on Greenleaf, they say, hey, listen, I'm a veteran. I'm 35 years old. You know, I'm no longer in the military, but we're moving out of state, or maybe they are in the military and they're getting a PCS, permanent change of station. And they're going to move from Forest Hill because they're at Beale and they're moving to Florida. And they say, here's the deal. I actually still need my veteran benefit. So we can only sell this to another veteran because the veteran that's buying has to bring in their eligibility to this property and they plant their eligibility into the VA loan, which then releases the seller's VA eligibility to go buy the next house. Okay. Then let's use my father as an example. My father's 78 years old, has his veteran benefit. His house is paid off, but nonetheless, my dad could go buy a veteran-owned home right now. My dad could go buy this house in Forest Hill. He could take over the VA loan, and because he's veteran to veteran, and allow that veteran to take his benefit and go to Florida, Texas, wherever they're going. But the cool thing is that veteran is no longer planning to use their benefits, and you'll find this in older, retired. Hey, we're going to a retirement community. We're moving in with the kids, whatever. So my father could come to me because I'm not a veteran and say, Gary, just go ahead and take over my loan. I, as a non-veteran, can take over his veteran loan, but his eligibility sticks with the house. So he can't use his eligibility again elsewhere, but I'm his son and he's not going to buy again. He owns, like I said, owns his house for Claire, but lives with his wife also. So then I now have a VA loan, not a veteran, and I have no PMI. I've got that 2.43 rate. And I'm just going to let it ride out for 26 years. My dad hopefully will live another 10, 15 years, but I'm going to carry this loan for the rest of it. And when it's done and I'm paid off, his eligibility disappears because he's probably no longer with us. Well, that is something you can do. So as you're calling and talking to veterans, you can ask that question if you're doing off markets, or you can call the listing agent and say, hey, tell me a little about your veteran. What's your veteran doing? They're getting ready to retire. They're going to move to, they're buying a house cash in Florida, whatever. Like, hey, would they leave their veteran eligibility behind because my person's not a veteran? So now your person gets to assume the veteran loan, like I said, without the PMI, which is a $200 to $300 a month savings on top of everything else. And they go, yeah, I'm willing to leave it. You might pay a little extra for it. Like, hey, we'll give you an extra 20 grand to assume your VA loan. And they go, yeah, 20,000 bucks in my pocket. I'm never going to use it again anyways. Why not? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to think about what was the cap for VA. Hold on.
It depends on what county they bought in. So if they're buying it locally, the cap is like 750 or 800,000. So yes, if they bought a property, it was like 300,000, they have some eligibility left. It's possible they can use that eligibility and go elsewhere, but that's a Pitt question. I'll let Pitt chime in on that because that is way beyond me.
So Michelle, FHA in the rural, there's no downside to your buyer, seller, or anybody. It's just a transaction. They're fully assuming it, get fully approved, released. And then you did a great job on the VA. There is this partial eligibility, so it's pretty simple, but there's really no max on a VA now. The conforming max for FHA and conventional is at 806, like 250 or something, the number. But yeah, VA can even go higher. But yes, if you have questions about veterans, there's a lot of little ways to do it.
Gotcha.
A lot of little ways. Gary did a great job. Good call.
Yep. Any other last minute questions? I want to respect, we're right at 45 minutes. I like to try and keep these, under an hour. Of course, if you guys have more questions, I'm more than happy to hop on, but I also want to respect everybody else's time.
I got to jump. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Pitt, appreciate you being on here. Thank you, Miss Barbara, for being here. Ladies, you have any last minute questions?
That's it. Thank you so much.
All right. Like I said, feel free to reach out if you guys have questions. If you're trying to figure out an assumable before you guys get assumable or even after, and you're like, hey, this listing agent just isn't paying attention. They just don't get it. Just message me. Go, hey, Gary, can you hop on a 3-way call or a Zoom call with us and give me 15 minutes to help educate this listing agent? I have no problem doing that. More than happy to do that for you guys.
Okay,
Awesome.
awesome. Yeah, because that one you just pulled up, I'm going to look it up, and that might work for that guy the other day. So I'm on it.
Awesome.
There you go.
Thank you, Gary.
Awesome.
Cool. You guys have a great day.
All right,
Take
you too.
See
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.